Let's take a poll tonight. Ask who's going to order the Evo 2.
That,
Can you order now, or or is it not?
no, you can't
Okay,
now.
okay. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 3, Episode 1, Autel Evo 2, All You Need to Know. Mr. Ron Brown, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great, Bill, on National Evo Day here. I'm all I'm counting out my money on the side here, counting robbing my piggy bank to grab one of those Evo 2s. And we got Marcus Crawford, of course, on location, scouting it out right now. But it's going to be a packed show. We got a lot of news tonight. I'm going to throw it back to Bill to start this off.
Like Ron said, it is jam-packed tonight. Our man of the hour, ZinoNation and Rotor Talk Live's very own Mr. Marcus Crawford is at CES 2020. We're going to be getting some reports from him. We're very much looking forward to that. I do want to provide, before we get diving into things too quickly, and I'm going to make mention of this again, there are some great Evo 2 videos out there. I invite you guys to check that out. Ken Dono put one out there, Original Dobo, and he did talk to Autel, and this is some breaking news. I want to pass this on to everybody. The 8K version, this is from Autel, is $1,495, and the 6K version with the 1-inch sensor is $1,795. I wanted to get this out and make sure everybody knows this before we get into it too much. And we're gonna do a deep dive into this in just a few minutes here. Now, Ron, you got an email at 4 a.m. this morning. Who'd you get an email from?
DJI, and we've heard these rumors going all the way back to last summer. I mean, Joe DJ Heck Kessler has been reporting this for months, and it didn't happen. It's supposed to happen in the fall, and then we heard rumblings right around the holidays that it was true that the Phantom 4 V2 would finally be making its comeback. And we get this email this morning. And what was in there, Bill?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Ron, because I got a screen and we're going to put this up here. And, it's just...
inquiring minds want to know.
Inquiring minds definitely want to know here. So let's go ahead and share. All right. Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, visionary intelligence, elevated imagination. Going over all the specs: 4K, 60 frames per second, 20 megapixel photos, OcuSync 2.0. Here's a big picture of it here. Move down the line. Of course, the 1-inch sensor, mechanical shutter, 30 minutes of flight time, 5-direction obstacle sensing. That OcuSync 2.0 is a real seller on this one. I can't say enough about that. Talking about the gimbal here, the camera, the specs, and I got some news for everybody on this, okay? Nothing has changed from the original here. These are the exact same specs. The only thing that has changed, unfortunately, is the price, okay? Oh. The price is $1,729, okay, US.
Thank you, Mr. Tariff Man.
Yes. Well, hopefully, I read that they're hopefully getting an agreement with China soon, and sooner rather than later, I think will be very much preferred here. But the big question I've been getting today, though, which is really kind of interesting, Ron, is not so much about the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, but about the smart controller working with it. If everybody remembers, I've been, and this is funny, okay? I think it's the world's longest beta test for DJI. It's been going on since late June, early July last year, okay? Mm-hmm. And they still, because one of the things that they will tell you is when it's ready to go, they ask you to go ahead and revert back to the old version of the software, okay, to roll it back. I have not been asked to roll it back yet, but I'm thinking that's going to come in short order. I think we're going to see it on the smart controller. It makes perfect sense because remember, the requirement to get on the smart controller is OcuSync 2.0. It has to have that.
And what's the only drone that has it besides the Phantom 4?
The Mavic 2 series. and that's it.
And Bill, here's a piece of information you may not even know. If you go to the DJI's website and dive deep down, you could buy a Phantom 4 V2 without a controller.
Really?
So that means that why would they have and it's sold out right now. It was sold out the last time I looked. I haven't looked today. But why would that be in there? Because they expect people that already have a smart controller to save that. I think it was like $300 or $400 cheaper to buy it without a controller if you already had the smart controller. So everything you're saying makes sense that they have that on that drone is sold without a controller on the website.
That makes perfect sense, Ron. That really does. That fits right in there. Now, DJI, it was kind of funny, and I have a video coming out on it. They just did a firmware update for the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0. In fact, it was a Christmas present on Christmas Day that they came out with for this. And really all it was, and Ron and I talked about this last night, all it really was they tweaked some settings on the remote to be able to take pictures. I mean, apparently some people were having problems using the shutter from the remote to take still pictures. Well, it works now, and it works without hesitation. I tested that out, and it said they also improved flight characteristics, and I didn't see any difference.
It's funny you mentioned taking pictures for the controller. That's a common bug on toy drones. Even, did you know this, on the Skydio 2 drone? If you take it, you can't take the raw DNG photos with a button on the controller. You have to do it from the app.
Really?
So that kind of stuff is common across a lot of different type of drones, that the shutter on the shutter button on the controller isn't as good as the one on the app. So
that's very, very interesting, Ron. That's very interesting.
So okay, well, I'm gonna jump in right now. I may jump the gun here, Bill. Okay, the Phantom 4 V2.0 I can't even say it. V2's out now, and the retail price is currently
$1,729 US.
Okay, and we had a Evo 2 drop today. We have 3 different Evo 2 drops today, but we'll call the budget model has an 8K camera, could take 48 megapixel stills. I believe I'm quoting the right specs. And what's that come in at?
Okay. That's a good question.
Wonder if we could know anybody that had that information.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, does anybody in the chat have that? If you do, please go ahead and post that. That's something I don't have that information. If somebody does, please definitely go ahead and post that. Let's go ahead.
Your business idea needs a website.
Okay. Yeah. So do.
You looking for a clip?
I'm looking for something here.
I'm going to shout out some chat people while you're getting your clip.
Please do.
Okay, let's see. We have tech unboxing videos in here with us. We have FSU Grad 03. Hello, DeMarco. We got Drone Master with us. We got Jose Luma with us. Michael Weldon. Zachary Keys in here with us. Daniel Monteo's in here. We got Air Photography. Eric Rummel. Artco Drone Solutions. Hello, Art. I think I've got everybody now. Steve Dawson, Remote Pilots Australia is here with us. Drone Master, Ryan Drone Fan L. I think I'm Builder 710. Mike Kinney. Hello, Mike. How you doing tonight? We're all caught up, Bill. You got
okay,
your clip
good.
ready?
All right. Now, Ron, there's something before the Evo that I want to get to. Did you happen to hear anything about another camera that came out?
Well, I did. There's a little company called Insta360. They make 360 cameras primarily. They're kind of leader in the industry the last couple of years. I mean, GoPro tries to compete with them. They make what is GoPro's 360 camera called? I forget its name, but they're on Model 2 now, their 360 camera, but it still seems like Insta360 still has a little edge on them. But today they released a module camera, which is a 360 camera, and an action camera. And also you can add a 1-inch sensor module to it to create, like, you know, a real stunning. I mean, we talk about 1-inch sensors in drones, a 1-inch sensor in the action camera. I mean, I guess you're trying to play the clip. I mean, the clip makes it look like the pictures off of this thing are going to rival your pictures off of almost like a DSLR. And all this is kind of affordable. I think the 1-inch sensor module is in the just over the $500 price range, and the combination action camera and 360 is below 500. And the clip's playing right now in a little window. There we go. Biggest sensor ever. Three ways to shoot. There's a 1-inch sensor. $60 frames per second that everybody wants. Great slow motion. I heard the screen is much brighter than what we're used to in these type of cameras.
That's nice. That's reversible, Ron.
Oh yeah. And it's waterproof without a case, Bill.
That's incredible.
And of course, the flow state stabilization is just as good as hyper smooth and whatever DJI calls theirs on the action. And of course, that makes the stick disappear that you're holding the camera on in the video.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And there on the beach scene, the guy was walking, they put the HDR in, which really made the clouds look beautiful. I think it's, you know, it does 60 frames per second at 4K and 120 at 1080p.
And what were we looking at for prices on it, Ron?
Well, I'm trying to get all that together in my head. They have a deal where you can get the action camera and the 360 module together for, I think, $479. And the 1-inch sensor module is a little over $500. And then they also have kits where you could put them on top of a Mavic 2 or a Mavic 1, and they range a little bit above 500 too. The kits where I think you get the 360 and the action camera, and you could put them on top of your drone. I mean, you do not need to buy the 1-inch sensor. That's the option, which I guess it, you know, will price up a little bit. But if you want the best quality available in an action camera, I mean, this hasn't been tested. Well, it is in hands of reviewers, but you know, we haven't seen an actual review up yet.
Yeah, here's the module on a Mavic 2 Zoom right here.
We're looking at your desktop right now.
Oh, okay.
We're looking at your desktop in the chat.
All right.
We got Brad Hendo's in here with us now, Bill, and Coast to Coast Drones. Bill Thomas joined us.
Awesome.
I think he's saying that the aperture on this is down to 1.8. Usually these things are like 2.2 apertures.
That's
maybe
incredible.
Referring to the 1-inch sensor. Can you imagine that, Bill? A 1-inch sensor with a 1.8 aperture. That means you could take pictures almost in the dark.
That's insane. That's really, really insane.
I hope they give Marcus one of these for a review when he leaves.
Oh, I hope so too. That would be wonderful. I'm trying to get this.
Mike Kinney was surprised that the $1,700, he thought it would be more for the Phantom 4 V2.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too. But I also expected that they were going to be doing some updates, and they didn't do any updates on that. So I'm having trouble getting the control to work here, and I don't know what's going on.
Let me keep Greg Pittman's in here with us now. Hello, Greg. He's Greg's in all the shows here. Greg's a loyal fan to all our shows. Air Photography said he's been playing with the Insta 360 for a couple weeks and it's really incredible. Thanks for
Yes.
sharing that with us, Air Photography. So it's as good as it looks on Air Photography. I can't wait to see more. And I know I think I talked to Bill before the show. Mick, I forget Mick's channel name. He said he has it, but he can't. He's embargoed for a couple more weeks than putting any video up.
Okay, I am.
Mike's asking Air Photography has been posting any videos on it. I think he couldn't do it until this point. Bill Thompson reported that Ken Dono just dropped hands on the Evo 2 video.
Yes, and for those of you who joined late, I want to do this. I'm trying to fix out what's going on here. The Autel Evo 2 8K is $1,495. The Autel Evo 2 6K is $1,795. This was on a video the original Dobo just posted, so I invite you guys to go ahead and check that out.
So that pricing came in below what we had expected. We had braced ourselves for over $2,000.
Yeah, we were thinking it was around $2,000, and I don't know what happened there.
I mean, I hate to call $1,495 a bargain or anything, but it seems like a reasonable price point for everything we're getting, Bill.
Yes, it does, Ron.
Let me ask the people in the chat: how many people would buy an Autel Evo 2 for $1,495? Oh, I got me on the big screen now, Bill. I'm a star. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I mean, I first of all, I thought, well, I won't get this Autel Evo 2. It's going to be overpriced, and I don't need 8K anyways. I have trouble editing 4K, but now I may have to rethink that with the the price being what it is. I think Bill may have dropped out for a second here, but I know this stuff kind of continues on, so I know he'll find his way back in the show. So I'll keep talking. So some of the some of the big highlights of CES today for most of us drone flyers were, of course, the Autel Evo 2 coming out with the 3 different models, and the prices being more affordable than we thought, and some big time drone reviewers like Astasio, sorry, I can't pronounce his name correctly. He released a video, and Tom's Tech Time released a video on it already. So they've had it for a few weeks, and I peeked. I haven't watched anybody's video all the way through because I was kind of busy today. I was just kind of like hurrying through during the before we started the show today. But it looks pretty impressive from what I've seen. I've never owned an Autel product before, so I've always been curious, and I kind of came close to buying an Evo 1 at times, but I never did. So this is definitely interesting for me. And then, of course, we talked about the Insta 360 already. Welcome back, Bill.
I'm back.
I was just a jabberjaw in here. I knew you were going. I know you'd be working your way back on the show. So I basically just kind of went over all the Autel Evo stuff again, and was kind of just rehash what we already talked about.
Good. I'm going to go ahead and get some more information up on the Evo here. I want to thank everybody for bearing with me here. I do apologize for that.
Technical difficulties, folks, but anyways, but besides the Evo and the Insta 360, what was another big announcement today that we could talk about a little bit?
That's a good question, Ron.
We hit the 2 big ones. I don't think I saw too much more. I mean, of course, it could be other news, but this this Autel Evo definitely stole the show from anybody else that was releasing drones. And Marcus said he couldn't even get near the Autel booth today, that it was kind of by invite only. So I did expect that, but I mean, this must be a real big deal out there. So I can't wait to hear Marcus's take on the whole event there.
Now we're going to go ahead, and I got the Evo 2 up here, and we're
Okay.
going to go ahead and go through some of the specs on it.
Great.
Just to make sure everybody's familiar. Of course, there's some wonderful video here. Currently in production, pricing and availability announced soon. Again, and this was on Ken Dono's video, $1,495 for the 8K, $1,795 for the 6K. All right.
Bill, before you move on, any announcement of when it would be available yet?
No.
Okay.
They said at this point, they said there is no ETA.
No information.
But they said it is in production. So meaning that they're working on it. And I got to give them some credit on this, because if anybody's, if you remember what happened with the original Evo, they announced it at CES, but we didn't see it until June. And I'm sure they wanted to avoid this pitfall, and it sounds like they are. So fingers are crossed. I mean, it's good news that we got some prices on this, and the prices, I'm very, very pleased. I thought that they were going to be more expensive than this. The thermal camera option, according to the gentleman that Ken talked to, evidently there are some federal regulations with that, and they can't discuss price right now. So as soon as that's available, I'm sure that information is going to go ahead and be posted.
Would you take a guess at it, Bill?
I would say we're looking definitely north of 2, maybe 3,000. That's just a
total guess, people. Total guess.
That's just a total guess. Yeah. Let's see here. One of the nice things, 9-kilometer video transmission. We're going to talk about a couple of the review videos that are out there in a minute here. 48 megapixel stills. Ron, that's fantastic for a camera, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what they're doing here is what a lot of even real cameras do, like a lot of micro 3/4 cameras. What they do is, you have to keep the camera perfectly still, but it takes a whole series of pictures. And inside the computer, you don't have to stitch this at home yourself. In camera with the processor, it'll stitch them all together and produces high dynamic range, 48 megapixel still for you. And of course, with a drone like this, the gimbal will keep it still, so it's essentially the same as having a tripod. So this is terrific for landscapes and things like that, where you're shooting something that's really far away from you. These extra, megapixels really make the stuff in the distance have detail and definition to it. I mean, of course, this would be useless for something up close or whatever. But again, you take that big, wide landscape or whatever, and it's really going to put stuff in distance and in detail. So this is definitely not a feature used every day, but a feature that's nice to have in your toolbox.
Exactly. Okay. Just a couple other things here. Built-in screen remote control, the same as on the original Evo. 40 minutes of flight time. Now let's go ahead. We're going to move down here. And again,
so the control is basically unchanged on the outside. Is that correct, Bill?
That's that. It looks very much the same, according watching some of the videos that I've seen before. Now, this is a 7,100 milliamp rechargeable battery, providing up to 40 minutes of flight time in forward motion and 35 minutes at a hover. There's a battery bat lock system to guard against battery ejection in high-speed maneuvers or hard landings, which is good to hear. But as Ron and I were talking about, realistically, if you get 30 minutes, okay, you're pleased with this. If I get 30 minutes out of a battery, that's pretty good. Okay. I'm able to get out, get to where I want to go, to shoot what I want to shoot, and get back safely with plenty of battery left. So
right. If you can't get to where you want to go and get back, you better get in the car and drive closer to the subject. I mean, unless you're flying to an island off the coast.
I agree 100%. Now, they're talking about extended range. Control your drone up to 9 kilometers away. And for those of you who haven't done the math, that converts to about 5.5 US miles here.
Now, what does the Mavic 2 promise for its range?
That's a good question, Ron. It's OcuSync 2.0. It's probably in about the same. I'd have to look that up. And of course, not all users ever need to travel this far, but a longer range also means a stronger signal, keeping you connected in crowded urban environments and thick forests.
True.
Okay. Now, here's their new obstacle avoidance system. And 12 computer vision sensors controlled by a dual core processor and AI machine learning creates omnidirectional protection. Begin detecting potential hazards at up to 30 meters away and let Evo 2 accurately control the speed of the drone to avoid a collision. Or leave the avoidance off and use the radar feature to give the pilot more information on the environment while still being in control. And there's
how long before somebody tests its avoidance against the Skydio?
That's exactly what I was going to say, Ron. You know, that's exactly what a lot of people are going to say right away. We need to compare that to the Skydio to check that obstacle avoidance here. Using the same 12 computer vision sensors keeping you safe, Evo 2 can navigate itself in all directions while avoiding obstacles, giving you the flexibility to control the drone how you want while giving you the option to turn on an aerial film crew at the tap of a button. So go ahead on that hike and let Evo 2 do its job.
Bill, I looked it up on the website. For the Mavic 2, it says their max flight distance, no wind, is 18 kilometers.
Okay, so that's 10 miles.
So this isn't up to the Mavic 2's specs yet.
No.
Okay.
No. Okay, and here's some pictures. The only 8K folding drone on the planet. Capture content at resolutions up to a massive 8,000 by 6,000. This resolution gives users the flexibility to print images over 100 inches wide, grab incredible screenshots, punch in, scale, or display on massive monitors up close. Lossless in-camera zoom up to 4x. With 8K, there are no limitations.
Bill, before you move on, keep that screen there for a second. 8,000 times 6,000 for 8K. Here's what the 4K is. It's 3840 times 2160. So we're like doubling those numbers on, more than doubling those numbers on both ends.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the big thing, and we're going to talk about this here in a minute because we're going to talk about the two review videos that are out there, which are both good, and I both encourage you to go watch both of them. You know, is getting it on your computer. You're going to have. You can't buy a $399 computer and download these 8K files, guys. You got to have a screamer. You got to have RAM. Okay, you got to have. You know, my minimum suggestion would be at least 32 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, you got to have a crazy good video card. Okay, now I have an 8 gig card on my desktop, and I'm getting one on my laptop too. It should be able to handle it. You got to have the latest Intel processor. Okay.
Hey, Bill, what if you got a 5-year-old smartphone?
You know, it's 5-year-old smartphone. That might be a challenge. It just might be a challenge here. Now the Evo 2 Pro, and the one thing about this is, and it has a 1-inch sensor. A 1-inch sensor with 6K resolution captures stunning detail not previously possible on an aerial platform of this size. An adjustable aperture, HDR, and intuitive camera controls make this the perfect choice for any aerial cinematographer or mapping pilot. And the next one is the Evo 2 Dual.
Oh, was that your house? Looked like your house.
That kind of looked like my house a little bit. And
are you sure you weren't beta testing this thing?
I don't know about that. I don't know. Evo 2 Dual. I wonder where they got the name Dual from, because it's Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual. But
yeah, it's interesting.
With thermal resolution up to 640 by 512 and an 8K sensor, Evo 2 becomes a workhorse. First responders, contractors, and business owners finally have a compact and portable tool that gives them the data they've been asking for. Okay, now we've digested the specs here. Okay, we've gone over them pretty well. I want to thank everybody that's in the chat. I didn't get the chat window back open, but I want to thank everybody for stopping by tonight. And please make sure you hit the like button, not only for myself, but for Ron tonight, because Ron's putting a lot of work and effort into this, and it's acknowledgement for both of us of a job well done. Okay, with all of that, okay, we're going to move on. There are 2 videos out there that I want to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and bring those up. Now, they were by Tom's Tech Time. Now, Tom is out of Germany, I believe. And also, of course, everybody knows Aldrin Astachio from Flight Path. He had it too. And what was real interesting was, obviously, I'm going to go ahead and just bring up their thumbnails because I can't play their videos. What was real interesting, Tom from Tom's Tech Time went to Iceland to test his, okay, which I thought was very, very interesting. Okay?
I always wanted to go to Iceland.
Yeah. Well, it looks also too like our good friend Rick Smith has a video out on it too. So Yeah, we just I just saw that here. So
We
that's
need to
something.
get Rick on the show sometime.
Yeah, we need to get Rick on here. Okay.
Speed dial.
Okay. Now, the two videos that I did watch and I was able to digest a lot of information from was Aldrin Astacio's video, AK drone Autel Evo 2, and then Tom's Tech Time Autel Evo 2, the world's first AK drone tested. Now, you know, they're going to get into, you know, and you know, I know they both said that they're going to really dive into this here. Some of items of note from Tom's video. One of the things that he said right away, obviously, you know, we talked about battery time right now, and, you know, it's a given. He was getting about 30 minutes, which really, realistically, you know, for Ron, for me, and for most of you out there, that's going to be fantastic. Okay?
That basically makes it the top of the heap of the consumer drone battery life, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, getting a solid 30 minutes out of this is fantastic. And it has that battery lock system in there, which I think is fantastic because, you know, they're gone in heaven. You know, the GoPro Karma, batteries falling out, you know, the Spark, the original Spark having problems with batteries falling out, you know.
But let me stop you just for a second. Did the Evo 1 have a problem with batteries?
I don't think they did.
Not that I ever heard of. Okay.
No, I don't think so, because I know I've talked to Ken and I don't think that ever was a problem with that.
Yeah,
so.
I just see that they were emphasizing that like it was a correction to an issue, but I'm reading something that's not there then.
Yeah. One of the things that I got from Tom, he showed the physical size of the Evo 2 it's a big drone. It's a massive drone. It's over 1,000 grams. I don't know what the exact weight of it, but you know, here's your Mavic Mini at 250 grams, and this is well over 1,000 grams. I mean, the battery by itself, it's a 7,100 milliamp battery, so it's pretty powerful. Okay, and it's going to need it. Now, he did talk about the body of the Evo 2, and he said it was plastic, but he, you know, while he didn't want to say, he said it probably could have been maybe a little bit better grade in terms of the plastic when he was talking about that. Unfortunately, he only had one battery, and he kind of yipped at Autel saying, you know, why didn't you give me more than one battery? Because he was getting some great footage. Now,
Luckily, he was getting that 30 minutes.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that he did say was, and he showed, he had a MacBook, and he said he had to be very creative in downloading some of these files to get onto his MacBook. Okay.
Let me correct you, a MacBook Pro.
MacBook Pro. Okay.
He said a late model MacBook Pro.
See, I'm not the MacBook expert. Ron is. So
right.
I'm so glad Ron's here to help me.
So what you say? He's not using. He just go into Walmart and grab it off a bargain bin. That's probably he had a better than $2,000 laptop sitting in the car. I saw that scene.
Yeah. I mean,
$2,000 or better hardware sitting in front of him.
Yeah, and you need that. Like I said, I can't emphasize this enough, guys. If you want to go out and get the Autel Evo 2, I think it's a great price. Considering, let's talk about that for just a second, and then I want to talk about Aldrin's video a little bit.
Can I quote a comment from the chat? But a couple minutes ago, Air Photography, who has the Insta 360, he made a comment there. He said he wonders if the iPad Pro using LumaFusion can edit that 8K video, because it can edit 4K video faster than most laptops can.
You know, that's a very good question. On that, I mean, there are a lot of unknowns with this, so we really don't know what we're going to be facing.
And one other fact I want to say real fast: you were quoting the weights. I looked it up. The Mavic Pro is not 907 grams, so this is heavier than a little bit heavier than
than the Mavic Pro.
Yeah, a little, but not off the charts. Just, you know, slightly heavier.
Right.
Which considering it has an 8K camera, all the weight of that, a heavier processor probably, so that's very acceptable.
Exactly. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, you know, and we'll go ahead and just take a look at this screen here just for a few minutes. You know, we're going to talk about, you know, I'm definitely going to watch Rick's video later, but Aldrin did a great video on this too, and you know, he did some fantastic comparisons. And one of the comparisons that he did that I really liked was he did 8K, he did 6K, he used the same scenes, and he did also 4K on the Mavic 2 Pro, which I thought was great. I thought thought that was really hitting a home run. And he shot the same scenes so you could get a good idea. And to me, that's a hallmark of a good drone reviewer. You know, they're going to shoot, you know, basically the same kind of altitude, the same direction to give you exactly what each drone is seeing at the same time, kind of a thing. And Aldrin does a great job at that. And he did that very well. He's very excited about it. I mean, that's one of the things that I could tell from the video. He's really, really pumped up about this. You know, the camera on there is fantastic for him. You know, he hasn't had a chance to really digest everything yet, but, you know, he has a very positive uptake on this as well. You know, and again, you know, I encourage you to watch these videos that are out there. I know our good friend, Original Dobo, Ken Dono, put one out, and he was actually on the floor at CES with one of the Autel employees. And this is where he states in this video, if you watch it, he will talk about the price in the video. So that is something that I definitely encourage you to go ahead and watch. Now, of course, Rick has one that just came out about 40 minutes ago, and I'm sure he's like a kid in a candy store as far as that's concerned.
But I'm gonna be up all night watching videos.
Yeah, we're gonna be spending half the night watching these videos.
Get your popcorn.
Get your popcorn. Get ready. You know, I'm real interested to get Marcus's take on this, to see what he thinks regarding the Evo 2. I think it's going to do well. I was also kind of surprised. I was also prepared, Ron, that, you know, and from the information I was being told was it was kind of going to be geared more towards professionals. And while in a sense that's true, I also see hobbyists being able to use this.
The high end of the hobbyist market.
The high end of the hobbyist market. That's a very, very, very well stated, Ron. You know, $1,400 is nothing to sneeze at. And with the technology that's on there, let's talk about that, okay?
Well, yeah, let me interrupt you just for a second. We do want to talk about that, and let me ask you a question. We can go on there right now. Why would you buy the Mavic 2 Pro at $1,799 over this Evo 2 8K at $1,499?
Yeah, that's a great point, Ron. That is a great point. Why would you do that?
Do you see a price adjustment coming for the Mavic 2 Pro in the coming months?
I'm hoping, you know, now realize, you know, those prices are inflated because of those tariffs, okay? Because if you look up at Canada, you know, and I know Lauren is actually at CES this year, otherwise he'd probably be in a chat right now, but, you know, their prices are very much near what normal US prices should be. In fact, you know, one of my viewers, I put him in touch with Lauren, and he actually ordered a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 from them up at the facility that Lauren works for up in Canada, because he got the better deal. Pricing on this, I think the pricing is good on this, and for the specs for what you're getting, okay. And I'm going to boil it down to this, okay. And this is from everything that I've seen so far today, and digesting everything. You know, while the obstacle avoidance is nice on this, and I think it's much improved, I think it's coming now. It's on par with the Mavic 2. All right. And I think Ron would probably agree with me on that. All right. You know, the Mavic 2 still has OcuSync 2.0, still has a greater range. You know, the Mavic 2 Pro has that 1-inch sensor. I mean, you know, with the 4K, I mean, that's still, you know, and Ron knows, and any good photographer, videographer knows that 1-inch sensor is going to allow, you know, those sunset pictures or those sunrise pictures,
low light.
Any low light pictures are just going to scream with that. And I can tell you, when I've done that sunset out there, and when Ron and I were at the beach down at Reddington Beach, the low light, it was just, you know, and Ron still had his original Mavic Pro 1 at the time. And, you know, there was such a big difference. Ron could see what a difference.
Yeah, just look at your screen, Bill. I could see you had a lot more light on your screen than I did on mine in the same exact spot.
Stephen Ewing, poor Zino 2 has lost the limelight again.
Well, poor Zino 2 is going to sell a lot more units than Evo 2 because it's a fraction of the price.
Exactly. Ron just kind of nailed that one right there, Stephen. And yeah, and guys, you know, there's no more. I don't have any updated information on the Zino 2 yet. You know, I'm waiting to hear from my contacts over with Gearbest. So stay tuned to that. I hear anything, you know, I will definitely go ahead and get that
and remember, it's kind of not the same customer. If you're looking for a 1-inch sensor, 8K, you know, 8K video, whatever, you're not the same customer that's looking for the Zino 2. It's like, you know, you go into a car dealership, the person looking at the Corvette's not the same person looking at the, I don't know, whatever Chevy's base car is. Agreed?
Agreed.
It's not the same customer.
It's not the same customer. And the big thing, Ron, for me that I'm seeing with all three models of the Evo 2, all right, it's the camera. It's all about the camera for these. Okay. You know, the obstacle avoidance, the runtime, the range, you know, the battery life, everything, you know, it's on par with the Mavic 2 series. Okay. What sets this apart is the camera, and it's an interchangeable module. They say, you know, that module can be interchanged, you know, that camera module between all three of them. So that's going to be real interesting, because here's where DJI kind of failed and they kind of dropped the ball, because they announced when the drone came out, when the Mavic 2 series came out, that they said for a fee that you would be able to send your drone to DJI and they would swap out the cameras. Now, as demonstrated by many people, I think it's all of like 3 or 4 screws, take the camera out, unconnect the pins and put the zoom camera in, or vice versa. It was that easy to do. You didn't need to send it off to DJI to do that. But the bottom line here for me right now with the Evo 2 is, you know, would I get it? Absolutely. But let me remind everybody of something here. Okay. There's a drone that's knocking on the door right now. The big giant, the sleeping giant in the room.
Who?
That would be the DJI Mavic 3. Okay.
Do you have it in for advanced review, Bill?
You know, we'll talk about the Mavic 2 right now.
Oh. Hey, but before you go on, I do want to say that I've never owned an Autel drone before. I mean, I was curious about the Evo, and I even was curious about the bigger drone that you had, Bill, from Autel. But I'm going to say this is the most impressive product line from Autel that I've seen yet, and it's not even close. Am I getting too giddy here, Bill?
I would agree 100%. This is by far Autel's best work. Okay. And I also will say this as well too. Okay. I'm an Autel fan, guys. I started out with an X-Star Premium. That was my very first drone. And, you know, just to make a long story short, as far as that's concerned, you know, the hardware was great. The software was atrocious. The software updates took months instead of weeks. That was the downfall of that drone. They improved considerably with the Evo, and I'm seeing for them, they hit a home run, and they need to hit a home run. Okay. We need competition out there for DJI. Okay. Spill the beans about DJI. I wish, Jose, I wish if I had an NDA, I would probably say I had an NDA. I don't have an NDA, so I can feel free to speculate. Now, one of the things that I can tell you, and I will say this, all right, if the Evo 2 is something that absolutely interests you, okay, you know, barring the Mavic 3 or whatever, okay, get it. You know, enjoy it, all right? You know, it's going to be a great drone, okay? Of that, I have absolutely no doubt, all right? Now, you know, if you want to wait for a Mavic 3, there's no ETA on the Mavic 3 here, guys, okay?
Bill, let me stop you for a second again. Okay, so the Mavic 3 say does come out in a couple months. Okay, how can the Mavic 3 top the Autel Evo? 8K is as high as you can go. There is no 16K yet, so they can't. If it even comes out with 8K, it only matches the Evo 2. Okay, one inch sensor. There is no 2-inch sensor yet, so you know, it can't top the 1-inch sensor model. How's it going to be better?
An 8K with a 1-inch sensor.
Well, that's Oh yeah, right.
because
Yeah,
the 8K version is not a 1-inch sensor. The
right,
6K
right.
version is, but the 8K isn't. I think they will probably do an 8K with a 1-inch sensor.
Hey, this is a total guess, Bill. But all these Evos come out and reviewers get done, and real technical people go over the video, I bet you they'll find that the 6K video out of the 1-inch sensor is going to look better than the 8K video out of the smaller sensor. Just a total guess.
I would agree 100%, Ron, because of that 1-inch sensor, because of that light that it lets in. That is so key. Any, like you, videographer, photographer, myself, Marcus, others out there, they will tell you that 1-inch sensor allowing that extra light in is so important.
Hey,
Okay.
Bill, I'm jumping all over the place here, so excuse me, but you brought up 1-inch sensor, just made a light bulb go in my head. The Insta 360 with the 1-inch sensor module for that, it's a Leica lens.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah.
They partnered with Leica, so like DJI partnered with Hasselblad. Insta 360 partnered with a boutique lens company who's known for their high-end quality. So that's really another kicker in that, where it doesn't seem like Evo Autel has partnered with a big name lens company for this 1-inch sensor, as far as we know.
Yeah, there haven't been. I mean, they really didn't give us a lot of detail regarding, the internals. Who's doing this, that kind of a thing. What type of a processor it is. What if it's an Ambarella processor.
Right.
They
right.
weren't.
We don't know all
They
that
were
yet.
kind of mum on that. I mean, a lot of great pictures, a lot of detail, but we didn't find out about this. I think from reading their obstacle avoidance, Ron, I think they reworked it. And I don't necessarily say reworked it, but I think they, in what we just saw, what I displayed up on the screen, I think they did it to kind of compete against Skydio. Okay. Their wording, their language, everything on there. I think they did it to say, hey, look, Skydio has it. We have it too. I think they want to make sure that people have no, ifs, ands, or buts, that the Autel Evo 2 has this on there. Okay.
Now, Bill, I don't remember how did people think the obstacle avoidance worked on the Evo 1? Was it considered successful?
It was a forward obstacle avoidance. It was very limited. There was no rear. And I know Ken, and I talked to Ken about this, and he was like, back in the Evo 1 up, you could back it up into a tree and not even know it. I mean,
it was the equivalent of a Mavic 1 then.
Right.
Okay.
Right. There was no rear. There was no rear obstacle avoidance on that. Gotcha. And I think, out of all the obstacle avoidances, Ron, I think that's probably one of the most important. Okay. Because if you're having visual line of sight, you're going to see where your drone is. Okay. And you're going to know, oh, there's a tree coming up. There's an obstruction coming up. But if you're backing it up and you're getting a shot, say you're taking a sunset. Okay. You can't see behind you. Okay. With that drone. Okay. And all of a sudden, boom, you hit a tree. Okay. And your drone's down because of that. Well, with that obstacle avoidance on, you won't have that happen. And I think that's a key. And I think a lot of people had some issues with that. So that's why they definitely reworked the obstacle avoidance. And I think that's a great thing. Autel stepped up their game for this. Right. I would say without a doubt.
Right. Well, everybody's stepping up their obstacle avoidance game now, right? From what I have in my hand here, everybody's gone back to the drawing board.
Here's my question for everybody in the chat. And I know DeMarco's in the chat. DeMarco, good seeing you tonight.
DeMarco's probably got this Evo in pre-order. He's got the Evo 1.
I'm going to mention some names again here of people that were in. And I'm sorry, I'm usually typing in here tonight and I'm not. DeMarco's here, Canadian drone pilot, drone master, Jose Luna, Mel's in the house, Brad Hendo, Simicolis. Let's see who else. Drone master. Okay. Never Trop Stein. Okay. Yeah. Having, said all of this, Ron, if you had the funds available, would you buy this?
I definitely, would consider this now at this new price. And I guess, the 1-inch sensor models are about the same price as the, Mavic 2 1-inch sensor model. So the prices are in the ballpark and what's out there, and spec wise, they're a little bit of upgrade over the the DJI option. So yes, if I was in the market for a a high-end camera drone, this would definitely be in consideration. Bill, what I ask you the same question.
You know what? I would say this: if a Mavic 3 was not on the horizon, as soon as deposits would be available, I'd put one down on it without question. Okay. If I get the opportunity to test one, absolutely, I will take advantage of that opportunity to test one. And I'm hoping, I talked to Ken before he went to CES, and he was hoping to get one to test. Now he has a meetup scheduled on the 11th here in the Tampa area, and I'm kind of hoping he has it there so we can see it and
That would
see
be
it in
awesome.
action, which would be fantastic. So, and Ken, great video, by the way. Really enjoyed that. Thank you for getting us that firsthand report from Autel Robotics. That was fantastic. I think, guys, if you watch a video, if you haven't seen those videos, watch Ken's first. It's about 6 minutes long, but he really got some good Q&A with one of the Autel employees, and it was fantastic. And they know him. Ken's been out to Autel. He's been out to out near Seattle where Autel is, and he's talked to the CEO, the president of Autel as well too. So he knows these people and he knows them very well. So I'm looking forward. Hopefully he will get that.
That'd be great if you would. Bill, I got here's a question I want to ask you. Have you seen enough from this, either one of these Evos, the we'll call it the 1 or the 2, well, the one in sensor model and we'll call it the AK model. Have you seen enough from either one of these to put your Mavic 2 Pro on eBay and get this instead?
No, I haven't. And the reason for that, Ron, is downloading these videos. Okay. Let's look at the long and the short of this. Okay. While 8K in and of itself is fantastic, and the concept of 6K with a 1-inch sensor is absolutely fantastic, what are the limitations? Okay. For, let's call it, for content creators. All right. Because if I do that and I can see that on my computer, or I have a 4K television, I can see it in 4K, but how can I watch a 6K video? And how can I watch an 8K video when that technology is still either very new or doesn't exist? All right. Because I know there's some TVs that are 8K, for example. Okay. But they're Samsung, and they're probably like $3,000 or $4,000 TVs.
There's a lot of it CES this year.
Yeah. I mean, they're the talk of CES is having this 8K, which is fantastic. But bottom line is, we can only upload 4K to YouTube, all right, where everybody's going to see it. And if you watch Aldrin's videos, okay, the ones he shot in 8K and 6K, he cropped, he put them out in 4K. He had to do that because there's no way. YouTube will only do 4K right now. And that's it. And can you imagine, Ron, okay, thinking about the size of the files? I mean, even at 4K, it's massive. If you look at like a 10-minute video that's done in 4K, it's massive. It takes up a lot of storage space on your hard drive. Imagine
you'll be running to Best Buy to buy more hard drives.
Yeah, you're gonna have to double your hard drives just for doing videos. Okay, it's massive in terms of the amount of storage. So people need, it's more than just wanting to buy this drone. It's adding up everything else that you need to do, because, Ron, if you go out and you get the Evo 2 or the Evo 2 6K with a 1-inch sensor, okay, and you're doing it because you're an Autel fan, that's great, and I'm an Autel fan as well, and you like drones, and that's fine, but you need to be prepared to have a great computer at home. You can't have a $350 computer at home and expect to get results like you want to get with 8K and with 6K. You just can't do it. Okay.
Right. And it would be silly if you had the $350 computer at home and you bought the Autel Evo 2 and you put it on 1080p so you could edit the video on your computer. And I think that most people, they're going to buy this 8K or even 6K model, and maybe they're going to try the 8K or 6K for a while, but they're eventually just going to turn on 4K.
And you know what? And you know what's going to happen, Ron? Here's what I predict. Okay, the Evo purists, you know, they'll buy this no matter what. Okay. No matter what the price, they're going to go out there and buy this. And, you know, they'll do whatever it takes to be able to get that video, you know, uploaded. And, you know, whether it's just for them and their purposes and being able to see it on their computers or TVs or out to YouTube, they're going to do what it takes to do that. Then there's going to be some of these who are maybe curious about this, who go out there and buy it. And then, you know, my computer won't handle this kind of a thing. And then next thing you know, they're putting it out on eBay, kind of a thing.
So, or what you're saying is they're going to be going to Best Buy. They better go out and get a new line of credit. So they're going to go back to the drone department and pick up the Evo 2. Then they need to go over to the computer department and buy the fastest computer that the store has in stock. And then finally go over to the TV department and buy the 8K TV and have the guy load the car up. That's what you need to really to use this stuff the way it's intended.
Now, you know, I also want to mention too, there's the third camera option for the Evo. Okay. It's the dual, which is it's exactly like the Mavic 2 Enterprise dual. Okay. Now there's no pricing available on that yet. And if you watch that video with Ken and him talking to the Autel employee, they can't release pricing yet on that because there's, I guess, government regulations are involved with that. So stay tuned for that. But there's going to be three of those camera modules that are going to be out there. And again, there's no pricing on that. And there is no pricing on the individual camera modules themselves. If you want to swap those modules out, there's nothing on that. But, you know, we did get the pricing, you know, $1,495 for the 8K and $1,795 for the 6K. You know, I think one of the other things before we kind of close up shop here, Ron, that I want to talk about is the options. You know, and I know, you know, from talking with Ken when he got the Evo, it took forever for him to be able to get a second battery. I mean, it was eons, at least 2 months. And, you know, he was so frustrated because, you know, he's out there running the drone for 25, 30 minutes and then he's done. And, you know, it would take him a couple of days to do one video because of that. All right. My hope is that Autel has stepped up its game in production, not only of the drone itself, but the accessories. Okay. And especially batteries with this. I think that's really important. And the other thing that we haven't, and nobody's talked about it that I've seen, is the app. Now, Ken has told me that it's running the same app that's on the current Evo. Okay. Which is good news because they're not having to create something from scratch all over again. And it's going to be available. And I know Ken said there were a lot of pain points with the original Evo, with the app, you know, and as you know, Ron, getting an app approved on Apple takes an act of God. I mean, it's just, you know, Apple is very stringent in terms of what they let out there, which is a good thing, but it's a long wait. Okay. You do have to wait for that. So, you know, it does take time as far as that's concerned. Now, before we completely close up tonight,
Bill, before you jump off the battery topic, we
Sure.
missed something. We talked about the Mavic, the Phantom 4 V2. I also went to the, I guess I'll call them accessories. Guess what's in stock you can buy right now?
What's that?
A Phantom 4 battery.
Really?
They were. I clicked them and you could buy them this morning. It wasn't out of stock or whatever. I could have bought all the Phantom 4 batteries I wanted this morning. So that's probably the best news, even more than the V2 coming out, is people that have any Phantom 4s can now go buy fresh new batteries.
That is huge because it's been eons. You know, you would have to probably, you know, either on eBay, cross your fingers and hopefully you were getting a new battery, or bless you, Ron, or, you know, go out to Amazon and maybe try your luck out there. There were a lot of aftermarkets, but, you know,
or DJI's website, they may be there for 5 minutes and then they're gone.
Because, you know, a lot of people have been wanting them, and, you know, they're not cheap. They're
$199 right now. They were like what, $150 when they came out. Let me keep talking. I'm going to actually see if they're still in stock now. They were in stock at 9 a.m. this morning, but let me go check while you're.
Sure thing. One of the other things that I want to talk about before we close up shop tonight was I did put out a video about what to expect at CES 2020 this year. You know, some of the players that are not going to be there. Hubsan's not going to be there this year. Zero Robotics with their V-Copter Falcon, they're not going to be there this year. Skydio's not going to be there this year, which, I don't know if that's a surprise or not. Some of those no-shows that are going to be, but one of them that is, and I did put a video out at it by itself because I didn't find out about it until after I was done, was we're talking about the Evolve 2 is going to be out there. And I think that's going to be a fantastic drone. I did put a video on it, so I suggest you guys maybe get a chance and check that out. I know they had a lot of pain points with the Evolve 1, with the original Evolve. And I think they really stepped up the game with this here. The specs look great on it. I imagine we'll probably find out in the next day or two. They'll probably have, do what Autel did and have their sort of release on this and get some more information. So I'm anxious to see that. So stay tuned for that. The Evolve 2, I think that's going to be a great drone. I think they've really learned their lesson. And Ron, it probably has one of the best controllers I think I've ever seen with a drone. That Evolve 1 on there was just absolutely fantastic.
Really?
Yeah. If you look at it, it had a dual screen, telemetry, the FPV view, very responsive. Really, really liked what I saw from the first one. So hopefully, from everything I've read, they've done their homework, and I'm anxious to see review videos, and I'm anxious to see more videos on it. So, so stay tuned for that. The Evolve 2 looks like something I think may do very well. Also want to put a plug in for a couple of shows. Last night I was on with Ron Brown, and we had a fantastic show. Michael Barrington was on from Accelerated Heights, and we talked about his Skydio 2, and we talked about his crash. And Michael, if you're watching, fingers are crossed, and we're saying some prayers that Skydio will respond favorably to
I'll give you an update. He hadn't heard from Skydio as of this afternoon when I spoke with him.
Okay. And Michael was a great guest, and I've met Michael before. He lives in the Tampa area. It's fantastic, and I think he's going to be at the meetup on the 11th, which will be great. We also spent some time talking about the FAA, the good old FAA. I just, it's just like, and I want to thank John Coopy for coming on last night because, he's done a video on it, and I suggest that you check that out on Remote ID. And tomorrow night, I'm putting a plug in for Coast to Coast Drones. Bill Thomas, they're going to be talking about that on Coast to Coast Drones tomorrow night.
8:30 Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. And Ron will be there. John Coopy will be there. Look forward to that show because I know it'll be good. Bill puts out some good content. So you definitely want to check that out. Okay.
Bill, I want to confirm that you could go on DJI's website right now and buy a Phantom 4 battery for $199 and get free shipping in stock.
Okay.
Load up.
That's fantastic. Ron, do you have any closing thoughts here before we wrap up shop tonight?
Thanks so much for having me in the show tonight. I really enjoyed us getting to talk about some new exciting drones like the Autel Evo and an exciting new camera option, the Insta 360R, I believe is the title. I'm sorry Marcus didn't get a chance to pop in here and give us some kind of live, but I know he's overwhelmed at CES, but next year you and I'll be there with him. So we'll
Absolutely.
be able to do some live remotes next year. But no, it's been an exciting night. It's you and I may be a little bit too much fanboy tonight, and not enough what do you call level-headed commentators here. But Audie's is going to have to excuse us. We had a great group in chat tonight. A lot of great people in there. A lot of great conversation going on. So I thank everybody for being in there, and I'm going to throw it back to Bill to wrap this great show up tonight, and hopefully we're back next week with some more exciting drone information.
Well, Ron, thank you so much for being here tonight with me. And, I do value both you and Marcus being on the show. I can't say enough about that. And again, Marcus, hope you're doing well. I know you're digesting a lot of information and it's been an exciting couple of days for you. We look forward to talking to you next week and getting a breakdown of what it was like for you out at CES. As I told everybody, I did get my CES credentials, but they came a little too late in order to be able to go out. It was cost prohibitive. And I mean, it was very cost prohibitive to fly out. Everybody knows that CES is happening in Vegas, and they draw well over 100,000 people, and the airline, everybody takes advantage of being able to try to make some money. So what else is new about
Bill, you
that?
should just go in and want the money back at the tables.
Well, I should have done what Hey Kestelou did, was drive out there. Okay. Now I probably would have had to left about 4 days ago in order to get out there. So as far as it is,
You may still be in the road. The holiday traffic still may be out there. So.
Yeah, that would be absolutely crazy. So as far as that kind of a road trip is concerned. But again, I want to echo what Ron said. I want to thank everybody in the chat tonight. It was absolutely a great chat. You guys contributed very well. Thank you, Canadian Drone Pilot. We had a great time here tonight. And, I want you to digest all this information. There's a lot to take in here. If you're fanboys of Autel, go for it. Okay. When it becomes available, go out there and go for it. They're going to be great drones. Okay. I don't think anybody will be disappointed with these drones of the three, the two that we know about right now for sure in the cameras. Okay. If you want to wait for a Mavic 3, wait for a Mavic 3. Okay. But, my good friend Ken Dono, and I talk about Ken a lot, and Ken is really a great friend of the channel, and he's a great personal friend of mine. He coined the term probably about 2.5 years ago. The best drone, and this is the one I heard it from first, is the best drone is the one that's in your hands, or the one that you already own. Or as somebody else said, it's the one down the block that your neighbor has. Okay. Which I kind of like that one too.
And Bill, your keyword was weight. When it comes to drone, there's one thing that goes with all drones: the weight.
The weight. Okay. And see, that's what we're doing right now with the Zino 2. We're like in that wait period, waiting for the Zino 2. Okay. We don't know when it's going to land. And, Gearbest is different than dealing with, DJI or Autel or Parrot or other drone manufacturers. So with all that being said, I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Great chat. Make sure you check out Coast to Coast Drones tomorrow night. Make sure you check out our broadcast from last night that we had. We had a great time on ZinoNation. That was a great show. Make sure you check out those Autel 2 videos. Ken's video, Tom's Tech Time, Aldrin Estachio, Rick Smith. Make sure you guys check them out there because they're good videos, and I'm sure you'll probably see incredible enthusiasm from Rick as far as that's concerned. But again, thanks everybody for watching. Remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care.